Hi guys, I'm Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe and I'm here to announce the All the World's a Page readathon. So I am a co-host for this readathon along with Cara from Wild Book Garden and Julia from Shakespeare and Such. We are all huge Shakespeare fans, and if you've been on this channel a while, you know I am a Shakespeare fan, and we're here to make a readathon based off of the wonderful Shakespeare. So it's not just going to be reading Shakespeare's plays, there's a bit more to it than that, and there are 3 different rounds that you can do. We've got a round for beginners, we've got a round for people who feel comfortable with Shakespeare, and then we've got a round for the die-hard fans like us, essentially. And you can mix and pick between these prompts. You can do as little or as much as you like. It's going to be running from the 1st of July to the 31st of July, so you've got a whole month to do these prompts, and we've also got some bonus ones. So I'm going to read you all of the prompts here right now, and then I'll tell you my TBR. So first of all, we're going to go with the beginner round. So the first prompt for the beginner round is to start a Shakespeare play. You don't even have to finish it. You can take your time if you're struggling with the language, if you're struggling to understand, and you can just go as easy as you like. If you're really struggling with a Shakespeare play, I recommend watching an adaptation at the same time and trying to follow along in the book. It's kind of like an audiobook that way, and you get a bit of a visual, which can really help you with understanding Shakespeare. Second thing to do is to watch a Shakespeare adaptation. There are a lot of cool film adaptations, and we've also got a Google Doc with loads of adaptation recommendations. And then last but not least, your third prompt is to read any Shakespeare retelling, and again in that Google Doc we are going to have a list of many Shakespeare retellings. We've got middle grade, we've got young adult, we've got speculative, we've got literary, we've got historical, we've got different authors, different types, and as many play retellings as we can. Now moving on to the 3 prompts for the intermediate level. The first one is to read a play, sonnet or narrative poem that is unique to you by Shakespeare. So any Shakespeare play you haven't read already. The next prompt is to reread a Shakespeare play that is a favourite of yours. And the third one is to read a book that features Shakespeare as a character or a book set during Shakespeare's lifetime. And then we've got the advanced category, which is the one I will be doing. The first prompt is to read a Shakespeare play from one of the genres you don't usually read. Shakespeare's plays are often split into 3 genres. You've got his history plays, you've got his tragedies and his comedies. Sometimes they're split slightly differently, but just to read one from a grouping that you don't usually read. Then your second one is to read a historical or period appropriate Shakespeare retelling, and your third prompt is to read a speculative fiction retelling. So this can be fantasy, magical realism or something like that, and we'll have some ideas for you in the Google Doc. And then we've also got our 3 bonus challenges. You don't have to do these, they're just for fun if you want to take on some more. So the first one is to read retellings of 3 different plays, or to read in 3 different genres. Then the 5th one is to read a non-fiction or a critical analysis of Shakespeare or Shakespeare's works or something Shakespeare based. And the last one is read something that can be considered source material for Shakespeare's plays. Shakespeare was very inspired by different writers and different classics, so you can choose one that has inspired him. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my TBR for this readathon, and it was a bit challenging for me because I tend to get something Shakespeare related and read it straight away. So most of my Shakespeare retellings I've already read, and I am still on my buying ban, so I can't haul in anything that's new Shakespeare. So I just had to go with what I've got and do my very best. My aim for this readathon is to read 4 Shakespeare plays. I would like to read 4 in total, and I would also like to watch 4 adaptions, and I feel like that is going to be the main challenge for me because I'm not really good with watching films. I get bored really quickly, or I just get distracted, and I'm just terrible at focusing on films and, you know, dedicating to 2 hours or 3 hours of watch time. So I will just challenge myself. Those are personal challenges unrelated to the readathon. 4 plays and 4 adaptions. Then moving on to the prompts, I'm doing the advanced tier. The first one is to read a play outside of your usual Shakespeare genre, and for that I'm going to be reading one of his history plays. I'll just choose it when I get around to it. I usually just open the collection, see what I haven't read before, and then choose one, and there'll be plenty of history ones I haven't read for me to choose from. Then to read a historical or period appropriate retelling, I'm going to be reading Speak Easy, Speak Love. I've had this one on my Kindle for a while, and I think it's because it's on my Kindle and ebook format is not my favourite format, is the fact why this is one retelling I haven't got to yet. I know it's set in the 1920s, so I'm taking it as a historical retelling of one of his plays, and I believe it's of Much Ado About Nothing, which I recently read and really enjoyed. And then lastly, it is to read a speculative retelling, and for this one I'm going to reread Noughts and Crosses. I didn't want to reread Noughts and Crosses too soon because I am doing Read It Backwards, but by the time I get through my Read It Backwards TBR and get down to Noughts and Crosses, it'll have been probably more than a year. So I don't mind rereading it now. This one is debatable. Mallory Blackman says it is not a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but people who read it can definitely see the Romeo and Juliet retelling vibe, so I'm just going to go for it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling for this readathon. And it's speculative because although it is set in the contemporary world, it's a science fiction kind of contemporary world because the roles of oppression have been switched. And then last but not least, it's to read something inspired by his plays, and I'm going to read Metamorphoses by Ovid. This book, I have heard so much about it because it has inspired Shakespeare on so many occasions, and it's also inspired quite a few other writers from Shakespeare's time period. And I did a whole degree, not a whole degree, I did do a whole degree on Shakespeare, I wish. I did a whole module on Shakespeare, so I did 1 year of just studying Shakespeare, and the amount of times Metamorphoses came up was mad. So I just need to read it myself so that I can stop just hearing about it and not knowing. I need to know. So that's my TBR for this readathon and what I'm planning to do. I'm also planning to have some fun videos up. I'm hoping to do a video on how I read Shakespeare, which was one that was actually asked for quite a while ago. So I'll explain how I read Shakespeare and how I process it and understand it. And I will also be having a reading vlog where I try and read all my books for this readathon within 1 week, as well as watch the adaptions within 1 week. We'll see how that goes. Please let me know in the comment section down below, are you planning to join in with the All the World's a Page readathon? And if not, do you like Shakespeare? Do you have a favourite Shakespeare play? Do you know who he is? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!